Hello, and we are back to the Five Nations going into our final game of the weekend. I am Stormy, and I am joined here with Mick G.
Yes, it's been a long day. What a season.
Yes.
What a season.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm excited to see these two final teams face up against each other. Should be a spicy one. We have got Hallam Hellcats facing up against Wiltshire Roller Derby. I'm going to very quickly go through our roster for Wiltshire. We have got 00 La Renegade, 13 Ginge, 1550 Reckless, 17 Swift, 19 Be Brutal, 1990 Phil, 249 Serenity, 44 Lady T, 477 Ursa Boom, 53 Escapade, 58 Diamond Dodge, 666 Hanzoe Low, 702, 78 Lynn Zane, 786 is Question Mark, and 808 is Bookworm's Revenge.
And for Hallam Hellcats Roller Derby, we have 0 Wilma Wilmore, 04 Cartwheels, 09 Ansel, 14 Olive A. Sudden, 16 Abattoir, 1907 Mabel in a China Shop, 22 Pneumatic, 23 Smeed Smash, 324 Goldie Blocks, 34 Genuine Article, 36 Fetal Attraction, 46 Smith, 421 Storm Cooper, 588 Bobcat, 64 Killary, 666 River Sticks, 73 Key Foot, 83 Grimblock, 800 Carnage, 99 Fever Bitch.
So going into this first jam, that is La Renegade who takes lead for Wiltshire. Meanwhile, Smith has taken the start off, weaving their way around with Wilma Wheels move at the front being slowed down by Question Mark.
Question Mark proved a useful double threat in prior games, donning the star as much as being a blocker on track. Cheeky balancing call off there from the outside edge by Wiltshire.
So the previous games that they have done to get here, so Hallam first off played up against the Cambridge Rollerbillies. They got 272 points to Cambridge's 70. They then took on North Wales and they got 207 points to 89 of North Wales, so quite big wins on both sides. Wiltshire, however, first played up against the Valkyries. They got 194 against 103, and then they finally played up against London, where they got 243 points to 142. So all around, quite big wins by both teams.
Yeah, some of the highest scores we've had this weekend as well on the table from both teams. So this has actually added this extra bit of spice for me for how this is all going to play out.
We have seen insane blocking from both of these teams, and this is why I'm really interested to see how it works when they're all facing up against each other. We have got Fatal Attraction up at the front against that free wall, and we have got Swift at the back with that free wall of Hallam blockers. Both teams have got one blocker on a fence, but it is Fatal Attraction taking lead for Hallam.
That was a wise move by Hallam trying to lock Swift down, because that's exactly what Swift doesn't want to be doing. Once they've got their sort of glide and flow on, they are really tricky to have caught from the games I've seen them in previously.
And that's the thing as well, like, it's pretty much a given anyway, but especially with these teams, these jammers use their momentum, and as soon as they've got some speed behind them, they are unstoppable. And all of these blockers know this, and they know they need to shut that down as quick as they physically can.
Flip side, for all of the games we've had these high scores, we've seen some exceptional blocking, creating opportunities for their own jammers as well. So it's as much as that flip from offense to defense from all teams that has been quite impressive.
That is Lynn Zane taking lead for Wiltshire. We have got Kafut up at the front with Star in hand. Pivots in a perfect position to take a pass, but Kafut knocked out on the inside line, so denied the opportunity. That pass has now been complete.
I'm glad you caught that, because they managed to hide that from me.
Yeah,
I completely couldn't track where our jammer was.
That is Storm Cooper, who's taken that star pass and has now run away with it for the initial pass. Wiltshire jumping in on the offensive. Lindsay trying to pirouette around the outside, losing her footing, calling it off, but getting 4 points before she does.
So we're only about, 3 jams in. A clear playbook being established by Wiltshire of, like, we want to get lead, we want to get points nice and quick, and we just want to end it.
Yeah.
Like, we'd rather have some and you have none.
And I think this is what both teams are probably going to be aiming to do. They're going to be looking for a more of a defensive play here. They're not going to want to take risks, especially seeing the jammers that they're up against, who can very quickly start racking up those points. Someone who is hoping to do that for Hallam today is Ansel, who has just taken the lead.
Diamond Dodge, though, managed to stash and confuse Hallam's defense getting out and is lightning fast around the track. Wise, quick call off there, otherwise that could have been some cheeky points for Diamond.
Okay, so that's been an official timeout called. So early stages, 5 points to 7, 25 minutes on the clock. Jammer's having a bit of a chin wag on the jam line.
That's something consistent I've seen in every game this weekend is, whilst we're in this sort of lineup time or some form of timeout, anybody on track, they're besties, best of friends. There's everything like that, quick chats. I've even seen a few little like fist bumps, hugs, cheers. But the second that jam timer shouts 5 seconds, it's game time and no one's friends anymore. It's quite amazing to see how the switch just flips in our skaters.
So for this early stages, we're only 5 minutes in. Wiltshire have picked up 2 penalties. Sorry, I said 5 for 5 minutes, and then numbers are not my strong point. But Wiltshire picked up 2 penalties at this point, but are 2 points ahead. So two penalties, 2 points ahead.
Hopefully points don't equal penalties or penalties equal points. It's not an ideal scenario. Unless it's a really low-scoring game.
Yeah.
That's the only way you could justify it.
So we've got Smith and Le Renegade up to jam. They've got Goldie Blocks on the offensive up at the front. Bit of a pile up on the outside of the track there, but Smith isn't hit out, so he's able to get straight back up.
Le Renegade, though, found a gap on the inside edge. As much as Smith got up back on their feet lightning fast, Question Mark was up as quick, and they would have just delayed them enough to create that opportunity for their jammer.
Smith pushing those last couple of blockers way forward to get the initial pass done. Le Renegade hit out on the inside line, being recycled back.
And I thought just for a fraction of a second there, we might have the first instance of like an opposing jammer managing to get round and potentially score before a call-off was, but there's been a lot of awareness from all benches. I mean, obviously, we here in the actual hall can hear them very passionately shouting towards their jammers, and thankfully this hasn't been clearly picked up by our mics, because at least one of the benches is very close to where we're positioned.
We've got Swift and Fatal Attraction lining up against this wall. So you can see the walls are lining up really close to those jammers, just being like, I'm not giving you a run up, I'm not giving you an inch.
Yeah, like we've seen a few moments of like pivot line starts, as it were, but I think, as you say, you don't want to give any extra to anybody, really, this weekend.
No, not with these jammers, and not with Fatal Attraction, who's just taken lead. Meanwhile, Swift has picked up a cut penalty, so we have got our first power jam of this game in favour of Hallam. So Hallam coming in for the sweep, which is successful. Just one blocker left to face at the front.
Bless Ginge going in there for a challenge. Obviously didn't result in a big hit, but at least slowed Fatal down.
I was about to say, slowing them down is a win when you're there on your own.
Yeah, and that's killing the clock and giving opportunity for Swift to get back on track and change things up.
Big hit there from Bookworm's Revenge, slowing down Fatal Attraction up at the front. Bit of a spin on the apex to get through.
Great beautiful piece of footwork there to keep stable and not fall foul of those big hits that Wiltshire were dealing out there.
So Swift looking to make up for some lost time, trying to follow a blockers through that wall. Star has come off.
It's a stash. Obviously now we've got both jammer and pivot for Wiltshire, and yes, we have had a star pass for Wiltshire. Bookworm's Revenge is now your jammer.
With the beautiful green glitter lipstick, which deserves points on its own.
And I don't think I've not seen Bookmark without a smile on their face all weekend.
No, we did give them an award earlier for being the smiliest blocker.
I mean, I've seen them like We'll be sent to the penalty box, smiling, been knocked out with a big hit. I'm smiling.
Yeah. I'm just happy to be here.
An impressive 11-point jam there for Hallam, and that's switched us around, putting them in lead. So that's set the bar at least for our highest scoring jam could be.
We've got Kafut has taken lead for Hallam, hoping to keep that points momentum going. Lynn Zane jamming for Wiltshire has taken the star off, but Pivot about a mile away at the moment.
But found a space on the outside edge to get out to complete their initial pass. So
Question mark going into chase. Kafut manages with the hit on the outside.
And I was just about to compliment that the timing was just right for Wiltshire to gain one of their blockers from the box, but unfortunately, as the jam ended, another one went in. So they will be skating slightly short in this next jam.
So we have got two of potentially, I'm going to say it, the two, what I believe the fastest jammers we've seen this tournament, Ansel and Diamond Dodge right here on track. Ansel has taken lead. Diamond Dodge now picking up that momentum on the inside line.
Just managing to dodge what could have been a terribly powerful hit from Pneumatic there on the inside edge. Now, that was a lovely apex hop, but unfortunately was just after the first set of whistles. So Diamond will not get any points for Wiltshire for that jam. Well, actually, that jam being so lightning fast, we are still a blocker down for Wiltshire with this next jam.
So that's Smith on the jam line, and that is Le Renegade for Wiltshire. Le Renegade taking that outside line. Wilma Wheels move, trying to chase, but Le Renegade managing to dodge to take lead. Big hit from 702 to knock Smith out on the outside line. Smith with a pirouette round, narrowly avoiding question mark.
Smith just bouncing off every opposing blocker there, pinballed around on track. Do not envy them in this jam. The Renegade keeps control of the jam, cashing in their lead jammer status, getting the full 4.
And they've had lead 100% of the time that they've been out so far. That's a good record to keep.
Well, we're very early. But this early, and given both teams have had quite tight, low jammer rotations, we're seeing a lot of the same faces, which obviously makes our job a wee bit easier.
And that's a timeout call by the bench. They did that sneaky bench coach thing where I don't know how I feel about it, where they go up to the officials and they wait until like the last second, and then they go, I would like a timeout now, please.
See, right. as a jam timer, I have had a few instances where a bench will come up to me and goes, well, I'd like to call timeout at 25 seconds. And I went, that's great. You're still going to have to tell me at 25 seconds you want it.
Yeah.
So I'll just motion, I'll wander over to where I want to be, and I'll glance at my shoulder, and then I'll go to say something, and they go like this, they give the T, and then, okay, timeout. Because that's still how it's mechanically got to be done.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't know if it's like my frustration from an official point of view that I'm not a fan of it, or my anxiety as a bench coach that I don't like it. But I'm like, I'm going to time it wrong, and it's all going to go to.
I'd much prefer if you come in to the field and say you want it than me. Especially given, like, at the moment, a jam timer would have their back to Wiltshire. If they then called and you just don't, and that's in your blind spot, then, like, well, you can't get angry at me when I've shouted 5 seconds and I can't see you frantically making a T shape at me with your hands. So. That's
very true. So I just need to come up to you, introduce myself, say hello.
Yes.
Offer you a cup of tea, and then time out.
The cup of tea would be a cheeky bonus. From
right, there we go.
This is a public awareness statement to all bench staff. Come and be nice to your lineup, your jam timers in future games.
So we've got Fatal Attraction and Swift with the star. Fatal Attraction getting a bit of offence work from the pivot, but Carnage is going for a sit down for a direction penalty for the privilege of doing that offence work.
I was about to say, it almost looks like a mirror match with both teams managing to make pyramid free walls against the opposing jammer. And I think at the moment, technically, for a while, it was only Ginge was helping to define exactly where the pack weight was.
I feel like both teams have got very, very similar blocking styles. They both very rigidly stick to that free tripod, which is solid, sticks on the jammer. They both let one person drop in and do offense.
I mean, the key thing is, it works. Because we know these jammers can be fast and nippy, and at the moment, we're dangerously close to a minute in, and we've only made it to corner 2.
With no lead.
Yes.
That's very true.
And there's the announcer's curse.
There's the announcer's curse. Swift takes lead. Fatal Attraction trying to follow that inside line to get through, but is shut down.
Nice big drag back there by Bookworms Renegade, sorry, Revenge. Really slowing Fatal down. They looked like they had some nice footwork before they got to the corner. They potentially were playing safe, because especially this late stage with the stakes on the line, you wouldn't want to just chance it, try to nip back in.
Absolutely, and especially with the exhaustion of an entire weekend tournament, you don't really want to be taking too many risks, because as much as this is for first and second place, like this is all to play for, but at the same time, that exhaustion is going to be a factor.
Yeah, you've still got the rest of this half and another half to get through.
Exactly.
Now,
so that's a star pass to Carnage, who is fighting their way through. Wiltshire gone with the draw back, but manages to get in front of Bookworms Revenge, so I'm assuming they didn't have a superior position.
No, I don't see any refs whistling at anybody. But we are jumping into a timeout for Hallam. A strong 9-point jam. That last one was.
That was strong for Wiltshire, really closing that points differential that Hallam have worked so hard on, 2-point difference.
And in theory, this is what we would want. You know, these teams have proven themselves like very strong, clear winners against both the games they've been in, but they're now facing each other. So the strong is very strong now.
Yeah. This is what you want for a final. You got seeing all of our officials in the middle there who've been working so tirelessly all weekend.
And obviously, as I've mentioned a few times on the stream, you have to bear in mind just how warm it's been.
Yes.
Regardless of how long these days have been for all of our participants, it's just been quite warm in Sheffield.
And also, officials don't get a jam off.
No, that's actually something my dad always used to joke to say whenever football, because he was a football ref many moons ago. He would say the fittest person on the pitch is the ref, because they never get subbed out.
That's true. That's true.
Admittedly, he was also a ref, so he's talking about himself. But he's not wrong.
That's fine. So someone who is getting to have a bit of a sit-down and a break are 2 of the Wiltshire blockers who are having a sit-down in the penalty box right now. So Wiltshire are starting with the disadvantage.
Does look like we've got, obviously, question mark as pivot at the moment.
So we've got Kerfoot making some ground on the outside there, getting slowed down by question mark, but a weave round. Spin on the inside line to take lead. Big hit on the inside from Genuine Article.
Kerfoot's already come back round to begin their first scoring pass of this jam. Finding a nice weave through. Met question mark, unfortunately, a second time, and this time is exactly what question mark would want.
I mean, question mark's going for a sit down for a forearms penalty for that hit, but it was one of those that made everyone in the crowd doing ooh.
Big shout out to our camera crew for just managing to at least follow through on the shot there, because otherwise Kerfoot would have just disappeared off the side of our screens.
It's like in a video game when you accidentally fall off the edge of a map.
Yeah.
We've got Diamond Dodge and Ansel up to jam. Ansel running ahead with it on the inside line, taking lead. Diamond Dodge has taken the star off, but there is no pivot on track, so there's nowhere to pass it to, so maybe be confusing.
I think it's one of those things where, like, I've seen a lot of jammers realise, okay, I can't gain lead,
no,
but I can stash, and I can do whatever I want with this. and then you, as the opposing team, have got to decide, what do you think I'm going to do with this?
I think that's the thing, is even if there's not a pivot in sight, it's causing that bit of extra confusion. It's causing the hesitation in the blockers. But it's also just muscle memory. Like, you kind of get to a point as a jammer where you train so hard that the second you hear that double whistle for lead, you just grab your head, like, instinctively.
And it does give you options, though.
Yes.
It does give you options.
Yes. We've got Smith and La Renegade using all their options now on track to try and get through. Smith on the outside line with a spin, takes lead.
We've seen so much solid toe-stop work, and we've also seen a star pass, 2 question mark now, racing out.
Smith on the inside line, but just hit out.
So obviously, as they reset, they glanced over the shoulder and went, oh, there's the opposing jammer. Right, okay.
Yeah, they got round fast. They caught me. Okay, my bad.
A cheeky 1, though, for all of Smith's fancy footwork. And 1 is more than none, as I see.
1 is more than none, and we're going slow and steady in terms of points in this game.
And the thing is, even though the score is still very close, and some might stay still quite low, it is not a detriment to the level of action we've been seeing on track.
Oh, no. We've got Swift and Ansel on the jam line. Didn't Ansel just do one like a second ago?
I think so. I think Ansel's probably just like cashing in all of their jammer points.
Yeah, they're just like, no, I've not had enough yet. It doesn't matter if it's a whole weekend of roller derby. I've not had enough.
Well, to peek behind the curtain, I'm aware that Ansel left earlier today to go home to have a bit of a nap.
See, this may be the trick that the rest of us have been missing.
I did jokingly say, please set multiple alarms, because you don't want to wake up late this evening to like 400 missed calls because you weren't here.
Oh, yeah, fair. So we got Swift with Star in hand, just weaving around those blockers. Pivot is very close, and that has now been passed. So that's Be Brutal who's taken the Star. So Be Brutal seems to have a different jamming style. They're just going to kind of like trudge through the mud, like is the way I like to describe it, of I'm just going to keep pushing you forward until you're not in my way anymore.
The thing is, if you've got like strength and drive to do that,
yes,
you could easily wear out the opposing blockers like on one pass and like sap them. And again, there's that classic out of play call. So if you can get quite far enough with that tripod.
Because I think as well as a blocker, it's very easy to get complacent in a certain jammer style and get so used to blocking a certain way that as soon as you get given a different style, you don't really know how to work with it. But that was a really good offense from Reckless to get Be Brutal out for the initial pass. Ansel's now done another scoring pass going round.
Yeah, it's only been the 3 blockers for Wiltshire for a while to support their new Be Brutal jammer. They have gained their 4th now. So that will sort of balance out both lines of defense for both teams.
Walls resetting as Be Brutal is on the recycle. Ansel's on for another scoring pass. But first. Big scorer for Ansel and Hallam, 27 points.
That's the bar being set.
That is
very
mad.
high.
That is mad. 3 points picked up by Wiltshire.
I've had a few games earlier today where we thought, oh, a 16. Maybe someone got a 20. We thought that was pretty impossible, but
yeah. I mean, I'm still impressed by a 20.
I'm just giving like a sort of an idea of what was like
a gauge.
What I thought was the upper echelon of what you could get.
Yes.
And Ansel went, oh, maybe there's a bit more space above.
Yeah.
I can sneak in a few more laps.
I can do that.
Admittedly, you have to also observe that to get those last cheeky 3, they had to find a tiny gap and skate backwards potentially for it in the hope their hips would capture some last few points.
Yep, but first. It's a legit tactic.
Actually, with something we've been seeing, like that sort of like, I wouldn't say chance it, but sort of like the devil may careness of all of our jammers of like, I think I can get through that gap.
Let's just go for it.
And then some of them say, no, I know I can get through that gap.
Yeah.
And even though as outside viewers we're like, how did you get through that gap?
Yeah.
Like, it was legit. No, all refs were nodding going, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. It's like I don't understand.
It's like, you know how a mouse can stick their head through, like, the point of a pen or something stupid like that. Like, jammers are mice. I've decided Jammers are mice.
I'm trying to work out if jammers gauge if a gap's like approachable. Is it as wide as my first skate, or is it like can I get at least a skate through? Or on toe stops.
Even then, because a toe stop, or they jump it, they don't even need a toe stop gap. They just go. Is there space in the air? Will that do? We have got Lindsay pushing forward that Hallam wall. Foot at the back, kind of weaving round.
Lindsay does find a gap on the outside edge, transferring that into a lead jammer status.
Hallam have jumped straight onto offense as soon as Lindsay got through. Really strong switch. But Wiltshire, their reform has been so strong all weekend that even with offense sweeping through, they're like, no, I'm going to stay in front of you.
I've seen it multiple times, and we're seeing it right now, that Bookworm has pretty much sort of, 702, has been sort of consistently sort of like getting in drag backs on people.
Yes.
And sort of just been in a lot of places where the opposing jammer doesn't want somewhere to be.
702 is so good at just sticking to the jammer like glue. And we're seeing it now that it doesn't matter what line Kafut tries to take, they are there.
And now teamed up with Question Mark, that's that's the tag team you don't want on track.
No.
Speaking of which, Kafut has literally been battling for the last minute and change, trying to get through.
But equally, Lindsay has got lead, but they're still not completed their first scoring pass. Hallam are not making this easy. That's a big hit down. I believe that's genuine article. And that's been a star pass over to Storm Cooper.
There, and I believe, did that feel like we went to time? That was a long jam.
I feel like that was a call-off, but I'm also not sure why you would choose to call it off when they've not got initial yet.
Well, 3 points was earned.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think everybody in that jam deserves to at least not be in another jam for a while, because you ran for time, and that was exceptionally physical.
I mean, it could just be call it off because you deserve a sit down.
Yes.
Diamond Dodge and Ansel up to jam.
Ansel just bouncing around trying to find any conceivable gap between anybody, and they don't care if it's an opposing skater or a teammate.
Yeah. Killary with really strong offense there to sweep a blocker out of the way, which was big enough to create a gap for Ansel. Diamond Dodge is up at the front, star in hand, and that is initial pass done.
Ansel finds a smooth line on the outside and quickly banks in the 4 they got for that pass. Wiltshire will be starting a blocker short in this next jam. But that just means they've got 3 blockers who can instantly form a tripod or a pyramid or a pizza wedge or whatever you want to call it around
whatever
Hallam's,
your tactic name of choice.
Of course, now I've said pizza wedge, it's just made me hungry, so I will not refer to it as that for the remainder of this game.
So we've got Smith up at the front pushing. And that is Smith taking lead.
See, we've lost a second of Butcher's blockers to the box. I believe Question Mark got themselves a multiplayer.
Meanwhile, there has been a star pass over to 702 of Wiltshire. Big hit on the outside. Smith coming around for another scoring pass, but the jam has been called. So we are going to take a moment just for skater injury, just to check in, make sure everyone's safe.
Here's hoping that, although it was, as you say, a big hit, it just knocked the wind.
Yeah.
I think, because as you've been saying, this is now where not just the tactics, but all that sort of core and endurance training you've been doing, practice really sort of kicks in, because a combination of the heat we've been experiencing, the length of your weekend that you've been competing in, and the level of play you're involved in, that's where you've got to find out, whatever extra reserve have I got, have I got we've got 8 minutes still left of our first half.
Yeah, and 702 has been on pretty relentlessly as a blocker as well. They've not had much of a break. And also, fun fact from our producer, Duke Special today, 702 had a baby in January and has come back from an ankle injury.
So what isn't 702 not doing? Like
Doing all the things. They are back on their feet now, so looks like everyone is okay from what we can see. So we should be able to get back to the action shortly, as soon as our officials have had time to kind of reset and recoup.
It's always good to be able to see obviously I appreciate you don't see it at home, but a skater be able to get back up.
Yeah.
Be able to make their way back to their bench of their own accord. Obviously, we always have EMTs on hand. I secretly always want them to just turn up and enjoy a day of roller derby and not do anything, really.
Yeah.
That's what I want them to do.
I always introduce myself to the medics at the start of the game, and I go, with the best respect, I hope you're horribly bored all day. So we've got Fatal Attraction and Swift up to jam. Fatal Attraction making some headway at the front. A bit of offense from the pivot.
Got themselves caught on the inside line. Quickly back up, trying to fade away through on mid. I think pretty much everywhere they look, there's green, unfortunately.
Yeah. That is Carnage trying to get a gap for Fatal Attraction, but now having to bridge that pack. And that is Fatal Attraction getting lead. Meanwhile, Swift at the back of the attack taking the start off. That is a very quick pass over to Bookworm's Revenge.
What was nice is they took it off thinking that lead had been called, put it back on, people focused on it, and then literally whipped it off as a pass.
I quite like a quick star pass, like an efficient star pass. I'm a fan.
I've seen a couple of fakies this weekend where people have sort of hid it behind their back or passed it to their left and they've gone right and stuff. So there's lots of different ways of it working.
Got Fatal Attraction up at the front there, trying to get around that outside. Bookworm's Revenge has now completed the initial pass.
Fatal decides to cash it in.
No, don't blame him.
Yeah, it's just under 7 minutes remaining, and I think a few of the skaters are like, oh, can we just go to half time so I can have like a glass of water and a sit down for a bit. Given the huge sort of like tubs of water we've got on each bench, I wouldn't be surprised if they did like just douse themselves in some ice water to sort of relax at half time.
So we've got Kafut and Lindsay.
Both of them, if not for the Jammer Stars, they are buried away in that sort of scrum we had at the start. With
Kafut finding that gap on the outside line and running away with lead. Lindsay going for a juke on the inside line. Wilma Wheels Move going for a sit down for the privilege of that.
That's a second check to the inside line. Big hit from a Genuine Article just as we ended that jam there. Three more points as we ended that jam from Hallam, moving them up to 75. Wiltshire, for the moment, staying on 28.
I feel like, despite the points differential, all we've had is like a couple of big jams, and the rest of it is just picking apart very slowly and surely. And all of these blockers from both teams are making the jammers work for it.
If we hadn't had that, shall we say, one big jam of Ansel, this would be really close. So it's Hallam now skating short.
We've got Ansel and Diamond Dodge with the star.
This is probably the slowest start I've seen from Ansel so far. They've actually got caught in the trap that is Wiltshire's defence.
Ansel's here on the outside line, being recycled all the way back. Meanwhile, Diamond Dodge up at the front, and that is lead. Meanwhile, Ansel now able to get a bit of a run up, picking up some speed. Star is in hand. No pack being screamed by all of the officials. That's the initial pass done. Diamond Dodge going to overtake Ansel for the scoring pass.
Spins round, cashes it in, but was it quick enough?
Oh, Ansel got one. See, I would take that as a win, though. Personally, I'm like, I don't mind you having that one. You have your one.
But I got a full 4.
Yeah.
And then converted that into a big 8. Because
Exactly.
I got 2 passes.
It was a beautiful little spin and call off at the same time. Love to see it.
As much as we all appreciate a bit of style, we can't award any extra points, unfortunately.
Why not?
Oh, don't add more rules to this game. That's the one thing I would say. We've already just made it as straightforward and streamlined as possible after many, many iterations of the rules.
We've got La Renegade up at the front, trudging through that wall. Smith at the back, trying to go from side to side to side to side to pick off the blockers.
It's a very struck out pack, but realizing that pack weight was more at the front. It's Ginge now that is effectively balancing out. Now it's shifted. Pack weight is more at the back. And in that huddle confusion, Smith was able to break out and earn themselves lead status for Hallam.
So La Renegade's got star in hand. Doesn't look to seem to be doing a pass, but Pivot is getting in a good position that they can pass if they want to. But La Renegade's like, I don't want to.
Moving forward together creates that confusion. Where should our focus be? Who should we watch?
Yes. So 2 points picked up by Hallam.
And call off there by Smith, all turtle tucked up to play safe.
Yep. The safety is sexy. We've got Swift taking the star with Ansel on the line.
Ansel's going for a wee bit of a run-up. She's out of shot currently, but there they are.
Big hit on the outside line, seeing Ansel recycle back. Meanwhile, question mark on the offense at the front with Swift. That is Swift taking lead for Wiltshire. Meanwhile, Ansel getting a forearms penalty, so we have got a power jam in favour of Wiltshire.
I think that might be Ansel's first penalty of the game, given they've been jamming so much. So a bit of a shame they cut such a clean sheet.
Ooh, that was a beautiful little jump round on toe stops on the outside line, just managing to stay in bounds. That's the 4 points picked up by Swift. This is exactly what Wiltshire want to see at this stage.
So passive line there to give their jammer the opportunity to find a moment, and now coming in to assist.
It seems to be a tactic a lot of the teams are doing with their offense, especially this weekend, where you let the jammer get bedded in, you let the blockers kind of get sure of themselves, and then you come and mess things up.
Yeah, because obviously you know the opposing team are going to brace for your jammer.
Yes.
And then you can say, well, what do you do? And then we'll decide what we want to pick off.
Yes.
Do you want to shatter the left, grab you on the right?
So 7 points picked up by Wiltshire before forcing the call off as Ansel came out the penalty box and completed the initial pass in a short amount of time. Really strong defensive work by Hallam to shut down that penalty.
But Wiltshire did get a solid 7.
Yes.
And they've managed to claw over closer to Hallam's current 78 because they've been kept no more points than Mo. So they're shortening that gap.
So that is Diamond Dodge up at the front and Kafut weaving round on the back.
Kafut getting completely buried into the Wiltshire's back line there. We've lost one of Hallam, and now we've lost Wiltshire's pivot. Penalties coming thick and fast, but also being thick and fast is Diamond Dodge out. Lead jammer given, whizzing round. See if now Kafut can do the same.
Big hit on the inside line from 702, who is going for a sit down, but it did slow down Kafut a fair amount. So I never like to say that penalties are worth it, but it might have been worth it.
In terms of now, like, this is, I don't think Diamond Dodge has stopped yet. That was just a clip that unfortunately has slowed them down there on the outside edge. It's a genuine article that managed to get that cheeky hip check in.
Diamond Dodge weaving round those blockers on track. And realistically, Diamond Dodge has got one blocker in the penalty box. She's not going to really want to call it off unless they're starting the next jam at least with the same amount of blockers. So 702 left the box. I'm now free to do what I want. Let's call it off. I've got my 11 points.
And there's the half. Where did it go?
Where did the half go? Honestly. I mean, that's maths I could do. There's a 30-point difference going into half-time.
Oh, nice and easy.
Yeah, nice and easy. So 84 to Hallam, 54 to Wiltshire. I'm excited to see the second half.
Oh, my word, yes. Like, it's been, although it's 30 points,
yeah,
we've clearly been seeing that's nothing to some of these skaters.
Oh, absolutely
Two
not.
jams and that's gone. You know?
Absolutely. And you never know, in half-time, have yourself a little sports montage, like play the Rocky music, run up a flight of stairs. Anything can happen.
Actually, in this heat, don't run up a flight of stairs. Don't.
Okay, so we're going to have a short break and we will be back just before half-time to see this final underway. And
welcome back, Internet. Here we are. Precious seconds away from our second half of our final game this weekend here at Five Nations.
So our fabulous producer, Duke Special, has been working on some stats for us from the first half. So in the first half so far, Hallam have got lead 56% of the time, Wiltshire on 39% lead. Ansell so far is Hallam's highest scoring jammer and has a 70% lead average. On the Wiltshire side, Renegade is on a 60% lead average, but Dodge is their highest scorer. Dodge themselves has a lead average of 33.3333%.
So Ansell's got a big wanted sign above their head as far as Wiltshire is concerned.
Yeah.
Big bounty has been put out on them.
Yeah. See, I find this interesting, though, where we're watching the blockers set up, because at the start of this game, we were seeing the blockers kind of sitting right back onto the jammers on the jam line. Because I made a big point about we don't want to give the jammers a run-up. And the more the game's going on, the more they're kind of they're giving a bit more space. Like, they're not being quite so tight on the jam line.
Now, that was an interesting start by Ansell, immediately going in really low, and I think if not for them losing the star, that would have been a quicker pass, like within and under the opposing Wiltshire line. Still out, though, got themselves lead.
Not alone, though. Diamond Dodge up at the front, narrowly avoiding Killer Ray.
Both of our jammers now sweeping back round.
Oh, big apex jump from Dodge, managing to get the points just before the call-off. So 4 points picked up by Wiltshire.
And that's possibly the biggest pop from our home audience this evening, and rightly deserved.
No, that was fancy. An official review has been called. So our producer is going to go eavesdrop for us to find out what's happening. Go get the goss. I'm not even sure which team called the review there. I think it was Hallam.
Well, I was about to say, I saw Wiltshire's bench come in field completely. Likewise, our in-house announcer is joining the centre to understand what's going on. But once we know, you'll know at home as well.
I don't know. Well, there doesn't seem to have been much discussion, so maybe it says a timeout, but...
Yes, we can stay in an official timeout at least.
Oh, so okay. So what happened there is someone who wasn't the designated alt tried to call an official review.
Ooh, cheeky.
It is cheeky. It's not allowed. So the captain's going to go sit down for a penalty for them trying to do that.
Yes, because we did effectively sort of all believe we were going to go into something way more important.
Because it delayed the game from that confusion of... so, yeah, there needs to be some form of penalty for it.
Well, it's Lindsay instantly out. Smith now stashing and fighting through the last line of defence that Wiltshire has. It was a 2-wall back into a 3-wall with question mark being their last line.
But Smith is hit out on the inside line, so they are going to take themselves all the way back, playing it safe.
Slight look of frustration, I think, on their face, so they thought they'd managed to get all the way through as well. And now they've been dragged all the way back from corner 2 back to corner 1.
Meanwhile, Lindsay up at the front with Ginge trying to get through that wall. Hit down, but... I was going to say hit down but not out, but clearly they were out as they have picked up a cut penalty. So we have got a power jam in favour of Hallam.
And we've also lost our lead jammer status, so we will be going for the full 2 minutes, of which we've only just got about a minute left.
So Smith has now completed that initial pass about a minute into the jam. So a minute of points.
So there we have that little passive train as Hallam decided what they wanted to do to assist Smith.
Going in for the sweep to clear the inside line.
Cheeky little push from Wilmore there at the end, but...
So you can see Carnage right there on the inside line there to move Question Mark out the way. But Question Mark with the chase, not quite enough to knock out Smith. Meanwhile, Lindsay is out of the penalty box, hit out on the inside line.
Smith and Lindsay both meet the back wall immediately. Lindsay realising they probably don't want to be stuck behind a bunch of green shirts and have now got themselves caught behind a bunch of black shirts.
So really good track awareness there from Smith. So got hit out, but the blocker that hit them out got a penalty. So Smith's able to just jump straight back on.
And there we are, full 2 minutes. I think we had one in the first half that ran to full time. So obviously we pretty much begun the second half by running to full time on a jam.
97 points to 62, 12-point jam for Hallam. Wiltshire with 2 blockers in the box, so starting with a deficit. Carnage going on the offense, trying to hold back Fatal Attraction.
Every time they glance to their left or right, another Wiltshire blocker seems to magically appear, and it's like, how can there be? There's only 2 of you in front of me. How are you always there?
This is insane blocking by just 2 people. So that's Serenity and 702. The Renegade still managing to pick up lead from Wiltshire. That is crazy blocking.
Exactly.
That's been a star pass over to Carnage.
Carnage just getting tapped at the end, losing their footing. That slowed their stride. Renegade caught on the inside edge, now sweeping around to out. But again, now it's the turn of Hallam to just be everywhere that the Renegade doesn't want a skater to be. And power knee slide there, just to end for Hallam's jammer.
Just for style points. Yeah. 4 points picked up by Wiltshire, closing that points differential, 66 to 97. 33-point difference, I'm going to say. I'm
31.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's like 2 jams worth of play for a team, maybe?
I shouldn't be trusted to maths.
That's right.
We've got Diamond Dodge up at the front. Kafut has taken lead, though.
Diamond Dodge just been sort of trying to dip down, just catching themselves on the outside edge, but reset nice and deep and clean behind a wall for assistance.
Kafut finding that inside line. Diamond Dodge up at the front. Big hit from Wilma. Wheels move. She's going to go sit down for that one.
I think all of Wilma's hits have been big hits.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Both Wilma, Wheels Move, and Genuine Article, I feel, on the Hallam side are the ones I notice as the big hits.
Well, Diamond Dodge managed to dodge several big hits there. Took the outside edge to get through for a completed scoring pass. Solid 11 points for Hallam there, and has also pushed them over the century mark.
Ooh!
But chasing behind, 4 points for Wiltshire. There's only 38 points difference. So as much as they may have progressed, that sort of gap is really kind of staying the same. It's like a question of, like, you might be ahead, but I'm in your shadow.
Yeah, I'm still here. I still see you. It's literally like some sort of horror movie, like the calls coming from inside the house. Swift and Ansel up to jam. Ansel up at the front, hopping around that outside line. But that is Ansel picking up lead as Swift has taken the start off.
Teammates compressed back now to assist. That's created enough confusion, but just got caught by Hallam's pivot and dragged all the way back.
Yeah, that's Killary with the drag back there.
Ansel, though, getting reset by 7:02 in this jam. So having to sort of begin again scoring pass. Fighting now between that combined wall of 7:02 and Bookworm's Revenge.
Oh, big hit down, forcing the call off just before Wiltshire can get any points up on the board. 3 more for Hallam.
That will most likely frustrate Ansel because that's probably the slowest scoring pass that they've had for a good while.
Yeah, Wiltshire are doing a really good job at kind of like slowing things down for Hallam.
I think that's pretty much across the board what both teams need to do to opposing jammers. Like, don't give them flow, don't give them space. Like, if you can suck them up and slow them down, you'll wear them out, or you'll just cause them to like fight more for just one set of 4 points.
Yeah. So Hallam have been the team to call the timeout this time around. They've got 2 of their blockers sat in the box at the moment. So it's probably just having that moment to breathe and get your head kind of back in the mindset of what you need to be. You need, despite all the chaos, you need calm and serenity.
Yeah, I mean, like, you need that because we're only about 10 minutes in to our second half. And it's very clear how very physical this game has become.
Yeah, a massive shout out to our officials, and especially Big Whoop, who's been checking in on the skater welfare as well. You can see him with his fabulous fan there in the middle.
Bless him. It has been a lot of instances where a skater's been knocked to the inside, almost to Big Whoop's feet. So it's very clear that he would have to at least stop and check, like, are you okay? Are we getting back up?
So, well, seeing as you're here...
It would be wrong for me not to.
I can't just walk away now.
Otherwise, the announcers will say something nasty about me.
No, only ever to his face. Back on track, we have got Le Renegade and Smith up to jam. Le Renegade up in front with those 2 Hallam blockers.
The Renegade just instantly ploughing into that 2-wall, breaking through, getting themselves lead status.
But that allows those blockers to go in on the offence to try and clear a space for Smith. Wiltshire so good with that reform, though, just flowing around that offence, not letting it bother them. Yeah,
Hallam's line of defence there got very strung out, creating a lot of weave space for Lorraine to sort of cast through. And like Smith has only now just got out and finished their initial.
Le Renegade sees that and goes, I'm not letting you do your scoring pass. No, not today.
So there's 8 points unopposed.
So that's Diamond Dodge coming up to jam now.
I believe that puts us back to, if I've got the maths right, that's about another 33 points.
I'm going to take your word for it, because clearly it's not my forte.
But that 30 points, like distance has just been maintained.
Yeah. So. Fatal Attraction trying to push through that middle of that 2-wall. 702 having to sprint to try and catch up to their wall. Yeah. Spin round on the inside line. That is Fatal Attraction taking lead.
Diamond Dodge, though, stashing and sort of whipping around so fast.
And I think this is the thing with Diamond Dodge, is obviously we talk stats at halftime about she doesn't necessarily get lead all the time, but she does get through the initial pass fast.
Yeah.
She shuts it down, and as seen right now, she's getting the points even when she's not lead. 3 points picked up by Wiltshire, 2 to Hallam.
Yeah, and that's like an instant pressure, isn't it? Like, I've whizzed round, and in that moment, of course, Hallam's like jammer was on the infield going, I could hear the bench wanting to call it, and like just was fast enough to grab extra points.
Oh, Hallam just getting enough blockers in as that whistle goes.
I could see the panic on some of our officials' faces. I thought, we're going to have to give a penalty there. Well, not.
But someone not getting a penalty is Kafut, who has just got a lead. Bit of a pile-up of skaters on that outside line as Lindsay is taken out, finds that gap on the inside and finishes their initial pass.
That was beautiful, quick reaction there. Like, everyone was focused on the out, and they inadvertently created that gap by sort of moving to try to swallow them up as they came back on.
And this is what I mean about calm and zen, because if you let that panic set in, then that's where you leave gaps, because you're like, oh, I need to be over here. No, I need to be over here. Ah.
Yeah, it's like if all of your teammates have that same mindset at the same time and you shift the pack weight in one direction, you have created a wonderful lane, either on the in or the out.
Yeah, you've done a wonderful favour for the jammer.
And I've got to say, as we've clearly seen, you don't want to give them a nice lane, because they'll take even the tiniest gap.
So we've got Swift and Ansel up to jam. Ansel going left and right, trying to just break those blockers apart.
I thought for a moment there Swift was actually going to check Ansel out as they passed each other on the inside line.
Swift just opting to kind of like trying to shove the blockers out the way. Ansel spin round on the outside, takes lead.
Great reaction there from 702 to realise, no, I'm not going to assist my teammates. I'm going to bridge and give you a few more beats to be the last two line of defence at the front of the pack. It took pretty much like a almost full 30 for Ansel to actually even get out, thanks to that strung out defence.
Yeah. And that's the thing as well, the derby knowledge from both of these teams is phenomenal.
Yeah, not to sort of fall into that trap of I need to help. But almost by not going with your teammates, you are blatantly helping.
Yes. We've got Smith and Diamond Dodge on the jam line. Getting nice and cozy as we get to start.
I was about to say, if you hadn't caught it earlier, when Smith went into a low stance, they disappeared into that scrum.
So Smith pushing forward at the front. Wiltshire doing what they can to put the brakes on, but Smith really pushing forward, forcing the no pack. Meanwhile, Diamond Dodge following that outside line.
It's becoming a slight bit of a chase now as everyone's picking up a bit of speed.
Yeah. So Wiltshire are going to be wanting to speed this pack up. They want to clear their penalty box before Smith gets them. Smith did get round and score the points, but it did clear Wiltshire's penalty box.
Yep, we'll start with full lineups for both teams in this next jam.
That's the Renegade and Fatal Attraction with the star.
Given these really sort of like tight, similar rotations of jammers, I'm surprised they have any energy. Like, they must be passing out the best oranges on both benches.
That's the Renegade getting lead for Wiltshire. Fatal Attraction has got star in hand. Feverbitch looked to seem to grab the star, but you're not the pivot, babes.
But we have had a star pass. Carnage is now the jammer for Hallam, and they are out, having completed their initial. And that's a full 4 for Wiltshire, which breaks the 4-jam drought on score that they've recently been having. All skaters like hugging around the jam line. Jammers are giving themselves a bit of space to sort of work out where they want to attack, what bit of the wall they want to poke themselves into.
See, Bookworm's Revenge is just kind of loitering at the front of that pack, ready to catch Kafut, but Kafut with a big hit manages to just get around her. Bookworm's Revenge has now taken the star. Getting around that outside, chased down by Wilma. Wheels move with the hit out, but Wilma went out at the same time, so that'll be a no pass, no penalty.
Actually, it was probably advantageous that the Bookworm got spun around from that hit, that they could actually glance back and go, oh, you've fallen as well. I can run away now.
That's true. That's true. I never considered a spin out to be a good thing, but I think you're right.
Yeah, because unfortunately we're not built with rear view mirrors or wing mirrors, so being spun does give you the ability to look backwards, thankfully.
We have had conversations this weekend about skaters being biblically accurate angels with 1,000 eyes.
There's been broader observations that bench staff don't seem to miss anything, and I'm wanting to call anything that may have been missed by our officials crew.
I mean, speaking as bench staff, I feel that's a vicious lie. So back on track, we have got Diamond Dodge passing the start over to Question Mark, who's completed the initial. Ansel sideways round the outside of the track, calling it off. So Wiltshire's bench is approaching the middle. I'm interested to see if it's...
Well, they were doing a great dramatic action walk in until they did that weird weavy motion on their hands. Like, I was half expecting an explosion to go off behind them.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, there we go. Wait till the last second. Call the timeout.
Exactly what I said you should do as bench. Like, come in, politely let your jam timer know, I would like it now. Maximising their 1 minute timeout. It's just off camera for you guys at home, but the Wiltshire's bench went over, double checked on one of their blockers that's in the penalty box. Are you good? Big thumbs up. Okay, I know you're fine. I'm going to check on everybody else now.
We see our wonderful photographers as well in the middle, working hard this weekend to get everyone a new profile picture.
I'm equally envious that both of our photographers have these like cool harnesses, and they like almost look like gunslingers with 2 cameras each.
Like the James Bond of the photography world.
Lightning fast.
And Paul Jones, our head photographer for this tournament as well, been working tirelessly all weekend.
So how patient can we be before they all appear on the internet for us to nab and tag ourselves in?
Oh, I'm completely impatient. I'll be messaging him later on tonight.
Tonight?
Why haven't you edited them yet? I am needy.
You know, politely decline, going, I'm driving home.
No excuse. How dare you? We have got Smith and the Renegade with the star. Smith pushing forward at the front, hit out on the inside line, so that allows the Renegade to take lead for Wiltshire. Meanwhile, Smith is going for a sit down for a forearms penalty.
This is exactly what the Renegade would want. Just for the moment, well, actually, quite a while now, we're only down to 2 blockers for Hallam, really freeing up the space for Renegade.
So this half so far, the Renegade has got lead 100% of the time that they've been on track.
That's quite an envious streak to have had.
Absolutely. Getting around that inside line there, just creaking through that gap, calling off the jam, attempting to lock Smith in the penalty box, but not quite timed it right, as Smith has just left as the jam was called.
Yeah, they were stood. So I know in your brain you would go, right, they're stood. That means they've got less than 10. But of course, you don't know if that's 9 seconds, 2 seconds.
Yeah. So we've got Fatal Attraction on the jam line with Diamond Dodge.
Obviously, Diamond Dodge has only got the 2 blockers from Hallam, but they're going to put all of their energies in to sort of keep Diamond Dodge, which is truly playing out for them. That's a deep reset back to the jammer line. That's
Abattoir and Carnage. Been really formidable blockers all weekend.
Absolutely living up to their namesakes.
Yeah. That is Diamond Dodge taking lead for Wiltshire. Fatal Attraction has taken the start off.
And has decided to go off the track.
Oh, so that is a forearms penalty. So we've got another power jam in favour of Wiltshire. Bit of an apex jump there to get around those last couple of blockers.
Beautifully caught on camera by our streaming team today.
Yeah, big shout out to Real Time Events for making sure that you can see all the action.
It's just a free wall that Diamond Dodge has got to get themselves through. Teammates playing a little bit passive, so putting the pressure on Hallam to not inadvertently split the pack by staying with Diamond Dodge. And Diamond Dodge has managed to cash in their lead jammer status and keep Hallam's jammer in the box to the next jam. So we will start with only 1 jammer at the jam line.
Ooh. So the jammer is standing in the box, so they have got less than 10 seconds. Oh, and that's an official timeout. And with that last jam, Wiltshire have broken the century mark. So they got 7 points, they've hit 100. Hallam Hellcats are 133.
And that's still maintaining that 30-odd point difference we've been consistently seeing
Yeah.
all of this half. I don't quite understand how they're managing it.
Hallam are on a 60% lead this half, so they are having generally more control of the jams.
And we've got just under 12 minutes of proper period time left on this half, so they can maintain that average. We could see a big change in where this current lead sits for Hallam.
Some flossing in the bench there. Big fan.
Where's Backpack Kid when you need them?
Looks like Dick Van Schaip and Big Whooper up to jam.
See, I would slightly expect that from Dick Van Stripe potentially, but
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen Big Whoop competitively play.
He has told me, fun fact, he has tried out roller derby as a skater once. And he tried to block, and I'm not going to repeat the words he said, but he basically said that he was far too threatening and therefore could not continue and had to officiate. You can ask him for the full story.
I certainly will. I'll be seeing him this week at practice, and I'm going to ask him all the questions.
Please do. But I am regularly making it a joke that I'm trying to poach him as a skater for the Super Smash Brawlers that I'm part of. But anyway, back on track, we have got a Swift up to jam. Hallam have now had Fatal Retraction return from the penalty box. Don't know how much energy she's going to have in the tank after doing the previous jam.
I'm surprised Swift does. There was a big check to the outside edge just as the jam started, which resulted in a little bit of a reset because they hadn't got much progression, but that would sap you before you've even begun trying to tackle any form of defense from Hallam. Strung out pack here, only just now concertinaed back together. No pack has actually been called, so there was great play awareness to keep that all legit and legal.
7-0-2 with the recycle back onto Fatal Attraction. Swift trying to use her teammates to kind of bulldoze their way through.
And we're now over a minute in with only just technically completing a complete circuit and no lead awarded. All in on defense. Everybody is.
Fatal Attraction making some headway up at the front now with just one blocker to face at the front, and she has gotten lead.
Huge pop from the Hallam bench as that was finally awarded to them.
Meanwhile, there has been a star pass over to 7-0-2, who's just managed to break through the initial pass for Wiltshire.
Something I'll let you know, in a prior game, Wiltshire was skating in. 7-0-2 received a star pass in that, and then tried to put the jammer helmet cover on quite quickly, and it pinged off, and they turned around and rather frustratingly said, "I've lost me hat." As they came down the straightaway towards us in-house announcers, and that's the most beautiful way to be frustrated at something unfortunate happening to you. Later in that same game, I did say they managed it successfully, and I said, "Oh, they managed to get their hat on," and they gave me a look and went, "Yeah, I did."
Sometimes hats are hard.
Well, these elasticated helmet covers have they're temperamental.
Yeah.
They either go on really easy or they don't at all. It's a great free wall there, pincing Ansel back. Even though Wiltshire have lost one of their blockers to the penalty box, they've not let up on their defense to just any form of waterfall trapping.
No, but it's this reform from Wiltshire again and again and again that the jammer is so close to being through. They're nearly through, and then all of a sudden you've got 3 blockers in front of you again. You're like, where did you come from?
And it's absolutely paid off because the Renegades earned themselves lead. Ansel attempted a star pass distraction that didn't work, and only now has Ansel got out to complete their initial. Like a full 50 seconds of defense there from Wiltshire.
But both teams having some penalty troubles as both have got 2 blockers in the box. Ansel taking that outside line. The Renegade going for the in. Both jammers are basically matching each other on speed.
So, big chunky 8 points for Wiltshire, 4 for Hallam, puts us at a 31-point difference. The status quo between the score, regardless of it climbing, is just staying.
It is, and we're now getting to a stage of the game where we've got 8 minutes left. If we keep doing these small hit it and quit it jams, we're going to get to a point where we run out of time to put those points on. We're getting to the stage where Wiltshire are going to have to make those tough decisions as to whether they want to start taking risks to close that points differential and give themselves a chance at the win.
There's a great play there. There's only a tiny gap on the inside edge that Diamond Dodge takes. A great apex jump, a beautiful spinneroonie to land it, and a call-off.
That was an apex jump, landing, dodging a blocker, all in one go.
Here we go.
Like,
beautiful replay here.
Look, landing and then dodging at the same time. That is mad.
Actually, it's a double spin. That was a double spin to stay inbound, clearing basically lane 2 into 3 and almost into lane 4.
So basically defying physics.
Yeah. Not defying gravity, though.
Oh, don't you make me go into sing-song. Kafoot and Swift with the star.
Swift trying to find space on the outside. One last line of defense with Hallam, but unfortunately they reform quickly, but it has forced a no-pack temporarily. Swift able to capitalize on the no-pack call, get out to get lead. Kafoot now also in that confusion able to find a space to get out themselves.
A scream from the Wiltshire bench to get some points as Wiltshire jump on the offence. Kafoot with an opportunity to get some points, forcing the call off. One singular point picked up by Wiltshire.
Just over 6 minutes left. It's Hallam calling a team timeout.
But no, I'm very interested to see if Wiltshire try and change up their tactics going into the final stretch of this game, because as much as they can get points on the board, and they are successfully getting points on the board, there is no way they're going to close this points differential if they're just going to get teeny tiny jams.
I think there's some great moments where they've capitalised on a Hallam jammer being locked in the box.
Yes.
But that's a setup that leads into success.
Yeah.
Not a off the starting line tactic, as it were.
Yeah.
They like capitalise on opportunity that's happening within a jam.
Yeah, you can't plan for a power jam.
Yeah.
Like, as much as everyone hopes that they're going to get the power jam, you can hope and you can pray and all of that, but if the other jammer doesn't end up in the penalty box, then what's your plan B?
Yeah.
But despite all these like small jams getting those points on the board, the Renegade is still maintaining their 100% lead this half.
No pressure. 6 minutes left to sort of roll out with that like perfect attendance, shall we say, as a jammer.
Yeah, they're lined up to jam now, hoping to keep that record going. And someone who wants to shut that down is Ansel.
Ansel now stuck in mid, trying to get their space to edge forward. Le Renegade, there we go.
That is lead for Le Renegade. Ansel not far behind them though. Nearly clear, but just shut down by question mark as they were nearly into freedom. That is Ansel now completed the initial pass.
But at the same time, that's Le Renegade coming in to complete their scoring pass. Now a short jam.
Yep, 4 points.
So if they, in theory, maintain lead status, short jam, 4 points, that's you clawing your way back.
It is clawing back, but there's only 5.5 minutes left of the game, and there's only so much you can claw in that space of time. But then at the same time, you can take those risks with the big jams to try and get all the points. But are Hallam going to let them do it? I very much doubt it.
Yeah, I think there might be opportunities where Hallam might be like okay with like having another 2-minute jam, because unless Wiltshire's like whizzing around lightning fast, like we've got space and lead to sort of maybe suck a bit of that up.
And we've got 2 Hallam blockers on track right now in the form of Abattoir being the last line of defence. How long they held back Diamond Dodge there from getting lead.
It's a testament to sort of the defensive play we've seen from all blockers on track today.
A weave round by Diamond Dodge to get the points on the board for Wiltshire, calling it off.
So, yet again, get lead, get 4, call it.
Yeah.
A slower jam than last time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It is
4 minutes and a half, not great.
I mean, it's definitely closing the points differential. Obviously, we were on that kind of 30-point differential for a long, 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 long time. We're now at an 18-point differential.
I think that's like the lowest we've been for a hell of a long time.
For a while. So what Wiltshire is doing is working. I'm just worried that they
Is
don't.
it enough?
Is it enough at this stage of the game? If they were doing this play a lot earlier on, like at halftime, absolutely.
Well, a complete rugby scrim there. Kafut just managing to get out. A full 15 minutes of tight defense, but it wasn't quite enough to hold them back.
Swift taking the start off. Kafut's now on for their scoring pass.
Now, as much as I know that stashing a star is a great tactic, unfortunately Swift having such a vibrant colour scheme is not that difficult to spot, but it has been a successful star pass, though.
That star has gone over to Lindsay of Wiltshire. Kafut just spinning around that last blocker, calling it off. 4 points picked up for Hallam, denying Wiltshire any more points on the board.
So it's now Hallam stealing Wiltshire's playbook.
Yeah. But they're the ones ahead. They're the ones with the advantage. It makes total sense that they go on the defensive.
Yeah, I mean, if they play the slow game now, then, you know, just ride out these last, well, under 3 minutes now.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, Hallam are going to be looking to run down this clock.
Ansel starting almost like from a sprinter's start. They were very low stance. Very quick reaction to realise that that wasn't as clean on the inside line as they'd hoped. The Renegades only got 2 left at the front, 1 left at the front, and the inside edge banks their lead status.
Meanwhile, Ansel at the back of pack, that is picking up a forearms penalty, so we have got a power jam in favour of Wiltshire.
Now this is a moment they would want.
This is what they'll be looking for. So that's the Renegade with 4 points.
See if they can capitalise on this sort of blessing of a moment for Wiltshire.
So Hallam are going to be looking to shut this down as much as they can. The Renegade managing to get through 4 more points.
Only a 14-point difference now.
Hallam shutting down that speed of the Renegade, but she is pushing them forward. Calling off the jam just as Ansel is released from the box. Ansel was still on the initial pass.
I think it's just one of those things where, given the pressure we're at, like, I see the opposing jammer coming at me. Like, I don't expect, like, a jammer to know the minutiae of where their opponent might be.
No, but this is what bench coaches are for.
Well, it was a strong 11-point jam there for the Renegade. Puts us at only, what's that, 11 points now?
Yeah.
So another one of those, and that's a tie?
One more of those, and then we get to have an overtime jam.
Oh, joy.
But Smith isn't up for an overtime jam. Not today. Smith's getting lead.
Smith wants to go home on time.
It's been a long day. Diamond Dodge riding the outside line.
Smith there absorbing several hits, but taking them all in their stride as they come out to complete.
Oh, that's Diamond Dodge with the apex jump, but picking up a low block penalty. So we have got power jam in favour of Hallam. Hallam have got lead. They've got all the control.
Still got time on the period clock, though, so still got to stay focused. This game is still in play.
Smith signaling to her teammates, I want a bit of help, please. And they do so to get her out. Another 4 points. A very graceful little spin around the inside line by Smith to pick up another 4 points.
Diamond Dodge will be joining the pack now. Just peeking in probably on your view. There you go. And wisely, Smith had ran the clock dry.
Yeah, as I was saying, Hallam want that clock gone. While they are ahead, don't let Wiltshire keep getting those points back.
Now, our current unofficial score sits at Hallam 155, Wiltshire 135, a 20-point difference.
Hallam look thrilled about this, and as they should. They have worked so hard, not just this game, but all weekend.
Thing is, Wiltshire absolutely brought it and made them work for it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, both teams absolutely relentless throughout, not giving up at any moment, fighting to the bitter end. What a game.
Yes, given the high scores we'd seen from both teams leading into this final, this tight, close-knit,
yes,
sort of lower scoring game in comparison is exactly what we want to see for a final game between the two teams of this caliber.
Yeah, but all the teams giving high fives, giving hugs. Everyone seems really happy with that result, as they should. You can see us in the corner, yay!
Hi, Mum, I'm on TV. But there it is. That's been converted into our true final scores. Hallam Hellcats 155, Wiltshire Roller Derby 135. Hallam taking the win.
And that is the conclusion of the whole of playoffs.
My word. What a fantastically long weekend.
So Wiltshire taking the silver, Hallam taking the gold. Go in and giving fist bumps to the officials, who have also been phenomenal this weekend.
Yeah, you've got to bear in mind, for as much as some of these skaters have given it their all, we've had 2 rotating officials crews who've been doing every game, in general, like 2 games back-to-back, and then kind of like 2 games off.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned earlier, like it's our officials who don't ever get subbed out.
Yeah.
They've not like both of these games had like games at the start of the day, and yeah, then got to play right at the end.
Okay. So that is the end of this weekend, really. We've got people getting on trackside for sweaty hand slaps.
Not sure I'd want one, given how the day's been, really, but I know it's kind of tradition within this sport.
But no, I have been talking in your ears, so thank you very much for listening to us. I have been Stormageddon.
I've been Mitchell.
And we've had our beautiful producer, Duke Special, giving us all the stats and all the factual facts. So thank you very much for supporting Roller Derby and supporting real-time events. Go talk to your local Roller Derby league if you don't already do this stupid sport, and get involved. And we will see you very, very, very soon.
Goodbye.